Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Andrew Tunks. I'm a director at Wits. You might not have heard of us, but we believe we've got a great gold story to tell. And nothing's working. Sorry. Oop. Thank you. Look, like many companies, our share performance over the last little while has not been fantastic, but I think if you give us a moment to look at the underlying asset, you'll see why this is a great little company. Sorry, I can't get this to go. We have a gold deposit on the world famous Witwatersrand goldfields. The Wits is by far and away, by an order of magnitude plus, the world's largest gold deposit. Okay, over 1 billion ounces of gold produced. 40% of all the world's gold comes from here. Okay, there's 7 individual gold fields. Any 5 of them would be the largest individual gold fields in the world, and the other 2 are around 70 to 50 million ounces as well. So enormous amount of gold in this very old gold deposit. There's been a lot of talk in Australia lately about how similar the Pilbara is to the Witwatersrand, and a lot of exploration goes on there. We have ground in both, but really we're very much focused on the Wits and what's going on there at the moment. Sorry. Can you advance that? So our ground is on what's called the Central Rand. We hold the western end of the Central Rand. The Central Rand is where gold was discovered in South Africa in the 1880s and has produced over 200 million ounces. The whole Central Rand is effectively connected. It's 3 reef horizons, the main reef, the Bird Reef and the Kimberley Reef, and they run for about 80 kilometres and they're amazingly continuous. We've got 2 leases that are now amalgamated into one, and they have historically produced 41 million ounces of gold. So that's not in resource, that is actual gold produced. And I suppose when I got involved in this project, I thought, well, after 41 million ounces, how much gold can be left? But I'm here to tell you that there's still plenty. Mining ceased here in the year 2000. It was being mined by DRD Gold at the time. And at that time, they had listed on the ASX and they were looking to get out of South Africa. They've since gone back to South Africa. But at that time, they were looking to get out. And these 2 leases combined had a resource of 13 million ounces. So that was the unmined portion and a very large exploration target on top of that. We've been systematically going back through that resource and very conservatively converting that to the current JORC code of, thank you, so we convert the historic resource to the new JORC code. And we're currently at 3.6 or 3.7 million ounces, and that will continue to grow. We don't grow our resources here by exploring, we grow our resources by reviewing the old data. When you've produced 40 million ounces, there is an enormous amount of underground data. It's all on paper plans and mylars and linens. We capture that data, we digitise it, and we produce new ore reserve estimates based on that data. We're not interested. Now, some of this has been mined out to 4 kilometres at depth. And again, that's not what we're after. We're not after pillar recovery. But there is so much gold in these systems that there are very large unmined blocks that you can still access. So initially, we clipped our resources to 400 metres within surface, and that's where the water table currently is. But lately, we've isolated a couple of areas which are not associated with the larger Central Rand goldfields, and are isolated in that we can pump those down without trying to pump down the rest of the Central Rand. Sorry, please. So amazingly, we're mining at surface now, because the old timers, you know, they went straight underground in the 1880s. They didn't do any surface mining at all. And so we estimate that there's, and none of this is in the resource, none of the surface stuff is in the resource, because we convert from historical data, and it's all quite deep, because for the first 5, 10 levels of the mines in places, there was no sampling at all. these reefs are so good, the old timers simply got on them and mined from them. I mean, one of the examples is the famous Carbon Leader reef. It was only between 5 and 10 centimetres thick, but it was 2,000 grams. So an amazing ore body. So shallow, we have very little data, but we know the continuity of these ore bodies. As you go deeper in the systems, we get more and more data. But our near surface operations have no resource. We simply locate the reefs on surface. The reefs are very well documented sedimentologically and geologically. We can identify them based on their sedimentology. And we pretty much go through and start mining. Now, the big value driver for this company and why we're so cheap at the moment is we don't actually have a mining licence. This is all done under the frame of what's called a prospecting right, and in theory, we shouldn't be mining there at all. But South Africa has a giant problem with illegal mining. It's a huge cultural and social issue in South Africa, and the government are doing everything they can to stop illegal mining. And one of those things, and we were the first test case, is to allow us to come in an open pit. And what we're doing is effectively removing the crown pillars from the old underground operations. That is what our open pit mining is. So the crown pillars in places that are, everything is mined out beneath us in some stages, and on the main and central reef, south reef, 3,000 metres below us. But on the Kimberley reef, there's large areas that are not mined. And so we go in, we trench across the reefs, we identify the reefs that we are targeting, and we start mining. Now, it's a very small operation, it's a very small footprint, and really it's done to show the government that we can mine it and mine it responsibly. We're producing about 1,000 ounces per month at an all-in, which it says cash cost, but we really don't have much overhead. So that's pretty close to an all-in sustaining cost of just over $1,000 US. We're a tiny operation, we will be expanding as we get the licensing through, thank you. So part of the deal is that we backfill our open pits and eventually these will become urban developments. And so again, we're a trial in South Africa, we're at the cutting edge of this. We don't use drill and blast, we use eccentric rippers, we're very close to communities, so there's no drilling and blasting. We employ local people and we've been very well received. Thank you. So that's the licence as it sits at the moment. And it's the central yellow area is where we're mining now on the famous Kimberley reef, the youngest of the major gold reefs. We've got 2 more applications in for small-term, short-term permits. And we have, since June, we submitted an application to convert the whole prospecting right back to a mining licence. We expect that that will be granted in June next year. So we've got open pit opportunities to continue to provide us cash flow in the short term. And that money goes back into the application for the mining right to fund the environmental studies, the social and community engagement, and obviously to fund that mining. Thank you. So this is a little bit complex, but it shows what we're concentrating on geologically. And I'm just going to need you to advance that button every now and again. Thank you. So please. So we've got two kilometres of strike, unmined, open pittable on the main and south reef. These were the very high-grade reefs. These are short, small crown pillars that are left behind. But we think somewhere around 50,000 ounces there. Thank you. Then we have about 6 kilometres on the Bird Reef. The Bird Reef was the gold and uranium-rich reef, and all of South Africa's uranium largely comes from the Bird Reef. And again, thank you. The Kimberley Reef, that's where we're mining now. I think we've got 4 kilometres of strike of the Kimberley Reef, and then one more. We've got a very large area of Kimberley underground that has not been mined historically. We're halfway through estimating our ore resources there at the moment. We just announced a resource for the K9B, which is one of the reefs, which I think had well over 1 million ounces, and there are several other within. Kimberley Reef is not one reef, there's actually 17 gold-bearing reefs in there. So I'm sorry, I'm running out of time. If you can just finalise that. We've got 2 important stages coming up. We're about to start another re-estimation on the Kimberley underground reef. We are about to start some feasibility studies on going back underground. There's an enormous amount of underground infrastructure here. There are 38 shafts. We're not going to be sinking any shafts. We're just going to be refurbing. And we're waiting for the application to come through on the grant of the mining licence. and then we'll really be able to ramp up. We see West Wits within the next 2 years as becoming a 100,000 ounce per annum producer, which is what it was historically. We have a market cap of about $10 million and we think we're fantastic value. Thank you very much.